Welcome back, everybody. Today we're working on our apple trees and pear trees, thinning them out, adding some water to it and feeding them a little bit. I want to show you some of these apple trees and that we've talked a little bit about them on our last video, but I've been working on thinning them and removing some of the fruit on them because of just the sheer weight of it, that it's going to be breaking the branches. Already on our Asian pear, we had like 3 branches that were broken. Our regular pear tree is so over weighted right now, or has so much growth on it, so many fruits, that I know it will start breaking branches. I had this happen multiple years. As well as the fruits are going to be smaller themselves. They're not going to be able to get big because of just not enough water, not enough nutrients in these young trees. As the trees get bigger, as the branches get stronger, the root system gets stronger, they are able to produce heavy production with a good set of fruits on them. But when they're young, you want to be able to clear them, clean them up a little bit. And there's my biggest cleaner or thinner. What did you find there, buddy? Apple. You like those apples? Nice. That's the beauty of having fruits and growing at your own yard, because your kids can and yourself can just enjoy them whenever they feel like having an apple or a pear, and go out there, pick one, and just have one. Anyways, getting back to these trees, I'll show you a little bit close up of some of these fruits here. So one thing I do like to do is, when I'm thinning out, is to remove like clusters like this and try to remove the smallest. Well, there's 2 of them that got removed, and it would have fallen off by itself. But we don't spray our fruits trees, we don't do anything to them. I know they're gonna get worms in them, but that's part of life, you know. They're not gonna kill you, don't worry about it. We've ate fruits with worms in them all our life and just cut them out, and that's it. But you can see, like right here, this little hole right here, that's a worm that already's in it. What happens a lot of times with trees and apples that are clustered like this, let me see if I can, let me flip the camera a little bit and show you a little bit better view of that. Okay, so when you have a cluster, this is a cluster of 4 apples right here. And what happens is you might get a worm in one of them, and it eventually will just make its way around, and it will infest all of the apples in there. So I remove a couple of them at least, and just, you know, leave 2 or so on there. Try to remove the biggest clusters like that and remove the smallest apples on them. That way it will produce more and give more strength to the bigger fruits on there. As well as it will produce bigger and more nutritious fruit as well. So you see that when I try to remove some of them, they just fall off. That means that this tree will start dropping them either way. So you're better off just removing them early on and taking them off, and let the tree do its thing and give more strength to the other fruits and have a better production. Look at this big old worm. So if this was touching another fruit, eventually this worm would go in, come out another one, get into another one, and infest everything. Now, this is my bucket where I just picked a whole bunch of, most of these are from this Asian pear, because it's just so overgrown, and it already broke 2 or 3 branches on here. But I will thin them a little bit out. Definitely will get more water to them so they can get more nutrients and produce better fruit set on it. So yesterday I forgot to show you my fig tree here. This fig tree produces fruit twice a year, and this year, unlike any others, it is doing really well. I trimmed it last year quite vigorously, cut the tops off. It's still pretty big, but look at all of these figs that are starting to come in on them. I know the sun is kind of in the way, so it's hard to, and there's more on top over there. I want to bring it even more down to be able to have it more accessible from the ground. I don't have to get a ladder to climb up on it or anything, but it's been producing really well, and it's pretty big. It's probably like, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 feet tall as a bush. On the other side, it's kind of clustered with an apple and a pear tree. That's why I'm trying to clean this area up. This is an apple tree right there as well, which has been overgrown. Has a lot of apples. This will have to be cleaned up as well. But this is an area that has 3 trees in there and has not been taken care of before really well, but we'll get it done pretty soon. I just walked around on the other side of the apple tree here, as well as the fig tree in the back, and this is our second pear tree right here. It has also red pears, but these pears do really well as well. So it has had a whole bunch of branches that got broken, but look at these apples on here. They are nice and big, and this tree is doing really well on the apples as well. And I need to clean this up because this, you can see how stretched this branch is. Look at all the strength or the weight of it. It's just pulling it and bending it down. If you don't clean this up, if you don't lighten up the load, it will break off and basically you'll lose all the harvest. I know it's hard to do this, but unfortunately we kind of have to do it. And continuing to our to our pear tree, same thing with the pears, although it's not as heavy loaded yet, but will have to be cleaned up as well. Okay, and the last I want to show you is our espalier trees that we planted here. It's been a few years that we've trained them out here, and they are doing really well. They're starting to produce fruit on them, but it's not as much fruit as we would get on our other trees. And part of the reason is because of all the trimming. It takes time for them to develop fruit buds, as well as time for the trees to grow in the shade. But they do have beautiful fruit on them. And we have 6, I believe, trees here, or 5 trees here. Eventually I want to continue this line all the way to the end, but probably with some other fruits, and then have a grape section in the front over there. All right, well, I hope you kind of had a little tip into what we're doing here and how things are happening, but we will be expanding this, cleaning these apple trees, getting them a little bit better harvested. Eventually the goal is to be able to have enough apples that we can make our own cider, preserve some for the winter. I used to, because our big tree used to produce a lot more, we used to make our own applesauce, which was, kids loved it. Because we started to prune that tree down, it started to produce a little bit less because it's going into all the new growth. And that's important when you're pruning these trees in winter, especially. You want to have, don't over prune them, because then you will not have a lot of fruit. You will have the tree throw all its energy into all of these new shoots like you see behind me. But unfortunately this is our espalier trees, so we have to kind of prune them hard every year, including summer pruning as well. So we do some summer pruning on our trees, apple trees, and then summer pruning on our fruit trees that are cherries, anything that has stone in it. All the stone fruit trees get to be summer pruned, which will be happening in the next couple weeks probably as well. Thanks for watching. We'll be back. I'll show you some results in the next video of our apple trees cleaned up and see how things progress.